Okay, again, thank you, grantees, for showing up on time to this webinar about requesting strong letters of recommendation. And we have today Jennifer Hunter from Rice University. She will be presenting all the information that you need for this topic. All right, so Jennifer, the floor is yours.
Awesome. Well, thank you all so much for being here today. As Ana Lucia said, my name is Jennifer, and I work in the Office of Graduate and Postdoctoral Studies at Rice University. I will share very briefly about Rice University in a little bit, but I would also love to know about each of you. So if you'd like to post in the chat about what you're planning to study, maybe any questions that you want to have addressed during this webinar, we're happy to do that as well. And I'm going to go ahead and keep going. So this is my contact information. So if you have questions after this and you're interested in touching base and kind of talking through things, please do let me know. I also want to let you know that we have a team of graduate student ambassadors that would be really happy to talk to you. And Alan, who's going to be coming and joining us, he is one of our graduate student ambassadors as well. There's a whole directory on our website. And so please do follow that link there and let me post it in the chat for you so that you've got that easily. And we are happy to have you reach out to any of them. They're very happy to answer questions about what life is like as a grad student, what life is like in Houston or at Rice University. They're happy to talk about those things. And if you have questions about our programs of study, we also have our graduate.rice.edu link there, and that will give you all of our programs of study as well. Fulbright, a lot of you probably already know about Fulbright, but a great thing to apply for as well if you're interested in graduate study in the United States. Opportunity Fund scholars at Rice are included as part of our Fulbright community. And so we have lots of different events, like we do lunches twice a month. We make sure that you get housing access and that you have resources available to you to help you succeed once you get to Rice. We're a very close-knit community and we do have a lot of fun, and we encourage you to explore Houston and the United States while you're here studying your graduate degree. Very brief, a little bit about Rice University. We are really focused on research. We're one of America's leading research universities, and we really focus on not only research and academics, but making sure that students have a good support system. We are a small private institution located in Houston, Texas, and we really have a small faculty to student ratio and lots of different opportunities to get involved on campus and explore different opportunities available to you while you're here studying. We're, like I said, located in Houston, one of the most diverse cities in the U.S. and the fourth largest, and so really great place to live. I've been here for about 11 years now, and love our proximity to the beach, which is great. We're about an hour from the beach. Love our dining scene and love all the outdoor space we have. So really encourage you to explore and let us know if you have any questions at all. So Rice is in Houston, as I mentioned. It's a really good place. It's situated kind of right in the middle of the United States. Really easy to get around. We have two major airports and easy to fly in and out of Mexico as well. I also wanted to direct your attention to our application fee waiver weeks. So if you are applying to graduate school this fall, we encourage you to apply for a doctoral application fee waiver, and you can follow the QR code on your screen as well to get to all of the information about our fee waiver weeks. That application will open in October, and it's open for a couple of weeks. So if you're thinking about applying to a PhD program, we are happy to waive that fee for you if you just let us know that you are planning to do that. And feel free to forward this to a friend. If you know folks that are applying to graduate school this fall and they might want an application fee waiver, do feel free to forward it to them. Okay, so we're here to talk about something really important, recommendation letters. I think it's a really important part of your application, something to be thoughtful about. And so we're going to go through a little bit of the components of rec letters and the things that you might want to keep in mind when you are getting ready for this. So what is a recommendation letter? It's usually a pretty formal letter, and it is by somebody that is going to be speaking to the admissions committee on behalf of you. So you really want to choose wisely who these people are going to be. It's going to be written hopefully by someone who knows you very well. You want to choose somebody who knows all about you and your accomplishments and your potential. And it really speaks to your character and your suitability for either a graduate or an undergraduate program. The letter should tell people at the university you're applying to that you are a fantastic top candidate for study in their program, and there are a few ways that they can show that in their letter. And it's really supposed to help tell your unique, authentic story. So you want it to be really tailored to you as an individual. And it is an application material that pretty much any program is going to ask you for. Some master's programs may not, but most of programs in general for undergraduate and graduate are going to ask you for recommendation letters, at least two and sometimes more. And each program may have their own requirements as well. So, who should write a rec letter? Someone you trust, somebody who knows you really well, and that can be a lot of different people. You could have an academic mentor that knows you well, that you've known for a couple of years, that you want to have write this letter for you. Maybe a teacher or a professor that you've worked with. If you have worked in industry, perhaps this is a colleague that you work with, or an advisor, or a supervisor, or a manager. Really, somebody that can speak to not only your achievements, but your potential for graduate study, your potential to be a student at the university that you're applying to. And so, really think carefully about who is going to be this person that will speak for you. So, who should not write you a rec letter? This is just some examples, but certainly these people know you well and can be great mentors for you throughout your life. But your best friend should not be the person that writes this letter. Your parents should not be the person. And then we also get questions of like, this professor, he's really famous, but he doesn't really know me. But I really want him to write me a letter because I think it will help my chances. Ultimately, though, it's not going to be a great letter if he doesn't know you well. So really think about, who's going to speak well for you versus who you think might be more famous in the long run. That's not really going to help you. So think about people who know you well, who are going to advocate for you, who have your best interests at heart. That's who you want to have write letters for you. So, questions to ask yourself. Think carefully again about who you're choosing to write these letters. Think about how well this person knows you. Do they have a positive view of you? Are they going to speak well of you? Is it somebody that you've worked closely with that could speak to either your academic interests or your character or your potential for graduate study? And has this person been a mentor in any way to me or a leader in any way to you? For grad applicants, you might want to think about if the person is relevant to the field of study, especially for PhD. You really want to think about who knows the field of research that you're going into and who might be able to speak to that field of research. It's not always essential, certainly, but we really would want you to think carefully about who maybe could speak to the admissions committee well about what you're going to be studying and have some knowledge about that. And really ask all of them. Ask all of these questions about any potential candidate that you might be thinking of to have write a rec letter for you. So, the number of letters that you might need is going to vary by program. At Rice, for graduate programs, we ask for three. You can certainly submit more if you've got many people that would like to speak for you. You can certainly submit more letters than three. And some programs may ask for more, some may ask for less. But it's good supplemental information. If you do have more people, you're welcome to have them write letters. For those in industry, it's great to have letters from managers, people who know your work ethic, or colleagues that know your skills. And then for PhD, especially, you should at least have one letter from a professor. So if you've been out of school for a little bit and you're not really sure if you can go back and find professors that might be able to write you a letter, go ahead and try to find somebody that might write you a letter. Think about if you can go to a university near you, do some research work in a lab and build a relationship there. That could be useful as well. But for PhD, we want to see at least one letter from an academic. So, really think carefully about the submission requirements as well. Every program, both undergrad and grad, are all going to be a little bit different. They're all going to have their own unique way of approaching things. So, review the submission requirements carefully before you request letters from recommenders. I would advise you to think about setting up a meeting, whether that is a Zoom meeting or whether that's in person. But do send them an email and let them know, hey, this is what I'm thinking about. I really want to go to XYZ University. Here's why I think that I'm a good fit for that school and why it's a good fit for me. And make sure that you tell them a little bit about the things that you've accomplished recently. So give them, I would always say, a highlight reel inside the email itself. Always also attach your CV to your request. You really want to jog people's memories if you haven't spoken to them in a little bit, or help them write the letter. Give them some talking points so that they remember, oh, yes, I remember this person did this in my lab, and I really want to talk about this because that would help showcase their abilities. One other thing I'd recommend is follow up with your recommenders, especially if you're going to be working with faculty members. We know how busy faculty get, and we want to make sure that this is top of mind for them. So you can let them know, here's my request. I'll be following up with you regarding deadlines, but here generally is the deadline that we're aiming for. And also make sure to tell them about the schools that you're applying to. Like I said, have them know a little bit about the institution and know a little bit about why you think it's a good match so that that can help further their understanding and kind of influence what kind of letter they're going to be writing. They want to know a little bit about the context that you're going to be getting into. And then for graduate applicants, you're also going to have to write essays. So a statement of purpose is going to be something that you have to put together. Some of you may have a draft already, and so that might be a good thing to attach to your request for a recommendation letter. The faculty member or the person that you're talking to might want to see, okay, what are you planning to study in your PhD? What are you planning to do in this field? And so that would really give them more of an indication of, okay, is this going to be a good fit? What are your research interests and how can I draft this letter to help you? So, sample letter request, you're welcome to screenshot this. In terms of if you're going to reach out to a faculty member or an employer or something like that, this would be a really good way to frame it out. Just really simple request for their time, thanking them and letting them know a little bit about what you're wanting to do. And then you can follow that up with a meeting, whether that's Zoom or in person, and kind of talk through more in depth what you're thinking. They may not always have time to do a meeting and they may just ask you, what is the follow up information? But good to always again attach your CV and make sure that they know a little bit about you when you're putting this ask out there. So, what does a good rec letter look like? You might not always get copies of these. So, a lot of times the request for a letter does not go through you. You'll submit the recommender's name and email directly to the institution. Then the institution will reach out and will ask them to submit their letter. You might get a chance to talk to them and maybe see a draft of this letter, but it's not always, it's not really common. And so I'm going to share with you a little bit about what a good rec letter looks like, what a university is looking for, but just know you may not always get this. And so this is to help you keep in mind, okay, who is going to write this kind of letter for me? Who is going to be the person to do this? So a good rec letter should always introduce who the letter writer is, talk about maybe their sphere of influence or what they're known for, and how, what the context is for them being asked to write this letter for you. It really talks about how long that they have known you, the impact that you have had on them, whether that is in a student role or whether that's an employee role or some other kind of role, but really talks about the connection there and gives a foundation for why this person is writing the letter. It's going to give an honest evaluation of your readiness for study, whether that's undergraduate or graduate, and really let people know, okay, this is why this student is a great candidate, whether that's academic or research or just your well-roundedness as a person and a student. All these things are so important for the letter writer to talk about. The letter should be really specific. It shouldn't be general. It shouldn't say, they're a great student and they've done great things. It should be, this person was top of their class. They really impressed me with this paper that they wrote in this specific course. And so it should really talk about, specifics because that shows how well they know you and how well they're paying attention. It should be enthusiastic. They should have trust in your abilities. They should have trust in you as a student. And so we're always looking for that enthusiasm of, oh my gosh, this, you have to accept this person. They are so great. And we love getting those letters. Specific achievements and points of note, any awards that you've won, publications, or maybe things that you've done that are really notable. We want to see those as well. It should also have some knowledge of the program they're applying to and the suitability for the program that they're applying to. And maybe the impact, especially if you're going for a research degree, the potential impact that you might have on the field of study, on the program, on the school itself. And so, really important for us to see these kinds of things, these well-rounded knowledge, which is why I think you should have a meeting with your potential recommenders and kind of talk through this. And then, of course, we're always looking for letters that are edited for accuracy. We don't want to see just a general template that's been reused over and over and over. We really want to make sure that it's a letter about you and very specific to you. Oop, let me see. I think I might have lost something here. Oh no, I think I might have lost some of my slides. I'm going to pause here and see if I can figure this out. But Alan has joined. Alan is one of our current Opportunity Fund scholars, and he is a graduate student ambassador. So, Alan, if you would introduce yourself and maybe talk a little bit about your journey to Rice, and I'm going to see if I can recover some of my slides.
Yeah, no worries, Jennifer. I also had some technical issues in my computer. I couldn't join, but hello, guys. I'm from Pachuca, Mexico. I graduated from UAP in Puebla. I was doing applied physics there, and then currently I'm doing a PhD in applied physics. My experience was very complete. First, I applied to this Opportunity Funds scholarship, and it provided me with a lot of resources to basically research what will be the best universities I could apply, uh, how to study for the TOEFL, and basically what are the requirements to apply to grad school in the US. So, well, this Opportunity Fund scholarship is very complete because you don't have to spend money to apply or to translate your documents or basically to send your exams to the universities. It's very complete. Even they included some flight ticket to Houston that I'm now, and also they cover me as 1 month of expenses. So yeah, I will encourage you to apply to this scholarship. But the most important thing, as Jennifer mentioned before, is be sure that your letters of recommendation are personalized and be familiar with your recommendation, the people who are going to recommend you, because general letters of recommendation, even ChatGPT can generate some for you. But if you ask for professors that really know you, that really you work with them and are impressed by your work, that will give you a lot of advantage against other competitors for applications to grad school and also for the Opportunity Funds scholarship. So yeah, that's a very good piece of advice. Make sure that are tailored to your profile and highlighting your achievements. Yeah.
And so I do have a few more slides I'm going to go through, and then we can open it up to questions. And let me see if I can share my screen again. Technological challenges of the day.
Mhm.
Okay, so some final notes here. I did want to put this into context. So when you're thinking about rec letters, it's just one piece of the application, but it's a really important piece. And so for the graduate application, this is what you're going to be looking at fully. We're here today to talk about letters of recommendation, but just keep in mind how all of these things are connected. And you really want to kind of make sure that what your recommenders say in their letters matches with what's in your personal statement or your statement of purpose, and it tracks all the way through. There's a common thread of this is what this student wants, this is what they're saying that they're going to accomplish, that they want to accomplish, and here are the folks that are speaking for them. But just to go through generally really quickly, components of the application, you're always going to be asked for transcripts, your graduate record examination scores. Generally, that's waived at Rice, and in a lot of places in the United States now, we don't require GRE anymore. English language proficiency also widely waived for students that have education in instruction in English. Application fee, again, ask for waivers. We do have application fee waiver weeks, and a lot of institutions will grant you fee waivers without any sort of formal application. So you can just ask for those things. The worst that they can say is no. It's not going to count against you when you're applying to grad school. Proof of financial support. This is more common for master's programs, and I'm happy to talk about finances if anyone is interested in that. Your rec letters, your essays, your personal statements, your personal experience statement, which is really about, you're joining a diverse campus community. How are you going to contribute to that community, and what do you expect from your peers? That's really what we want to hear from statements like that. CV or resume is another important piece. And then for PhD, we could be thinking about research experience and how you want to show research experience. So be thinking about all of these components and how they fit together. So, what do you want to show? Not only through rec letters, but all of the components of your application. U.S. admissions committees, both on the grad and undergrad, value a really well rounded candidate. Certainly we're always looking for academics and people that are going to achieve in the classroom, but we're really also focused on innovation and hard work and determination. Particularly for PhD, Alan can tell you, any PhD student can tell you, there's going to be days where things aren't going to go right in the lab. Your experiments are not going to go right. And so you really want to make sure that you have grit and determination and, like Alan does, a positive attitude always, no matter what happens. And this is a really great quality, and we're wanting you to succeed, and we're hoping that you can champion yourself, even though you're gonna have a support system here at Rice as well. And then you really want to show that you're committed to pursuing a grad degree, that this is the path you want. For graduate students, especially, and in some cases, undergrads, it's a time investment, right? So your degree could take 4 to 6 years. And so you really want to make sure that this is what you want, and you want to show an admissions committee, yes, this is what I want. This is what I'm committed to. Generally, you've already got a great mentor with Education USA with your Opportunity Funds team, but this is the timeline that you're going to be looking for in terms of PhD. For undergrads, this could be a little bit different. For masters, it could be much more abbreviated. So some master's programs are going to have multiple intakes per year, and so there might be a few different cycles. But generally, this is what you can expect. Applications are going to open within the next month. You're going to start getting your materials in order and usually submit by November or December. In January or February, you could be invited to interview or possibly be invited in person to campuses. They should be the ones to fund those things. And so make sure that you ask about funding opportunities for those things. And generally in March, you're going to be receiving your decisions for your doctoral programs. And then you actually have a deadline also for PhD and sometimes for masters. We want to have your deadline by April 15th so that we can start to plan for the class ahead. And so that's really important. Even if you turn down an institution, make sure you tell them that so that they have some good information to make decisions for themselves in the future as well. I think now that those are my slides. And so I'm going to stop here and I'm going to open it up to questions. Actually, I do have one more slide. Sorry about this. Okay. Timeline. Okay, make sure all your applications are complete. When you submit, make sure everything is ready to go. You don't want to be waiting. We accept test scores later, but we don't really want to be waiting on test scores. You want an admissions committee to be ready to go. You want your application to be top of the pile so that they are ready. When it's ready, they're ready to review. And so you want to make sure everything's ready to go. Like I said, application fee waivers exist. Make sure you ask for those. I encourage you to submit your applications early, whether that's to grad school or your undergraduate institutions that you're interested in. Get it off your plate, get it in somebody else's desk, and just enjoy the rest of your school year after that. Take a breather because it's hard work and it's very stressful to submit these applications. I certainly know that, but the sooner you get it off your desk and complete it, and you're confident that the better it will be. You'll have some breathing room there. Resources. I always get asked, like, how do I know what the best school is? Like, is there a website out there that's just going to say, this is the school that you should apply to? There is nothing like that out there. There's plenty of websites out there that are going to tell you all kinds of things about rankings, about different institutions, but I really encourage you, explore campus websites, do your own research. Talk to people that are at those institutions currently and ask them, what is your experience like? Are you supported there? Are you happy there? Make sure that these are questions you're asking, especially for long-term degrees. You don't want to be somewhere where people are generally unhappy. You want to be somewhere where you're going to be supported and you're going to have your best chance of having a great experience and succeeding. Make sure that you attend all of the Education USA, all of the Opportunity Funds events that they are offering you, because these are fantastic, really great mentoring events. And so you really want to take advantage of them. You have experts on your team with EdUSA, and so please do take advantage of that resource and crowdsource the expertise of these experts. Do a lot of different info sessions. I think it's really important to get a lot of different perspectives. Certainly, I've got some things to say today, but they might not all translate to the programs that you're thinking about. And so, talk to a lot of different people, go to a lot of different webinars, and get different perspectives about what campus life is like. Research funding opportunities, whether that's from the university or external, and make sure you have some idea of, okay, here's how I'm going to support myself through this program. and connect with as many people as possible, especially current students, especially graduate ambassadors or undergraduate ambassadors. The students that are living this experience are going to give you honest information. And you can always ask them any question that you want. And I always ask my ambassadors, just answer it honestly. Whether the answer is good or bad, we really want people to have an honest perspective. We would never want somebody to come to Rice and have it be one way in their head and be another way when they get here. So always ask the questions that you're thinking about. One other tip I will give you, especially if you're thinking about a research program, a lot of times labs will have grad students listed on their website. And so you can certainly cold call or cold email graduate students in the lab, and they of course will answer you honestly as well. And so please do take advantage of that as a resource also. Okay, that is my last slide, and I am going to stop here this time and just see if there's any questions or anything that folks might want to talk through a little bit more. And I know I talk fast, so I'm really sorry if that was too fast.
Hey Jen, I would like to present a few slides also that
Oh,
I just
yes,
prepared
Alan,
five
go
minutes
for it.
ago. I cannot share my slides. If they can give me permission to share.
Is it under your name?
No, because I also have technical issues. But yeah, now I can share. Yeah, yeah. I would also like to talk to you about the events that Rice organizes. I think this is a good way to create this community. So we have this event that is very unique from Rice called the Beer Bike. So this event consists of basically people biking, like very professional teams, and there's another part of the team that drink beer, and whoever drinks the beer faster and bikes faster wins the tournament. It's super fun. Last year got canceled because there was a thunderstorm, but half of the tournament was completed. Here are some pictures of the Buckyball, which is another event. Super cool. It's called Buckyball because Rice University actually has a Nobel Prize thanks to the discovery of this carbon 60 molecule called the buckyball. So in honor of this discovery, Rice organizes this event, which is kind of a prom for graduate school students. Also, the Tomodachi students, which are basically visiting us from Taiwan and Japan, and they come here to do an intense month of research. They join all of our labs, and they produce very amazing results. And also Loteria Night. This is organized by LACSA, which is the Latin American community at Rice. We organize so many events. This one was one of my favorites. You can see here a picture of some of my friends. For example, this is Thomas, this is Luke, and well, they are from the US and all the people are from different parts of the world, but they are all invited to join this kind of events that we organize at Rice. Yeah, thank you, Jen.
It's a little weird talking about like Valhalla is our grad student bar. So it's a little bit weird to talk about that as being like the centerpiece of grad life, but it really is. But I would say it's like a great uniter. Everyone from every field of study comes here. 4 p.m., you'll see faculty and staff and students all hanging out together from all different disciplines. So you might have a math major next to an English major, and they're finding some common ground there. And so it's a fun thing. And I will say, I don't drink. There's plenty of people on campus that don't drink, but it's still a fun place to go and hang out, and still lots of fun stuff to that happen on our campus as well. So one other thing I wanted to mention is that we do offer an undergraduate research symposium. It's generally pretty well funded. It's called the Gulf Coast Undergraduate Research Symposium, and we have had in the past Opportunity Fund scholars come to this symposium and present their original research. Generally, this is open to sophomores, juniors, and seniors that are current undergraduates or recent graduates. And so if you are a STEM or psychology or econ major and you're interested in joining us at Rice in October, we would love to have you apply, and that application should now be open. So please do feel free to reach out and ask any questions of me, or ask any one of our ambassadors as well. They're all really well versed in it also.
All right. Do you have any questions, grantees, for Alan or for Jennifer?
I do. I have a question. When it comes to the letters, for example, like what will be the person or like the opening letter that you would recommend us, or like tell the persons or the persons we're going to recommend us, like who's gonna be directed to?
So who's the letter going to be directed to? Is that what you're saying? So
Yes.
yeah. So generally, for PhD programs, it's going to be directed to an admissions committee. Your letter writer is not always going to know who that person is. Generally, admissions committees for PhD are a group of maybe five, maybe more faculty members, usually junior faculty who are wanting to build their labs, and they are tasked with reviewing all of the applications. And so a lot of times this information is not published anywhere. It's just going to be, dear admissions committee, here's what I know. And so sometimes you can go on websites and it might be listed who the admissions committee is, but that's pretty rare. For master's programs and for undergraduate institutions, generally, it could be a committee. For master's programs, it might just be one person that's reviewing applications. Usually, that's the program director. And so that's the person that they might want to address and find out who that is. For undergraduates, there's usually an admissions team. These are staff people that are looking at applications. There may also be others looking at applications as part of the review committee. So, for example, alumni may sometimes read applications. Current students may sometimes read applications. It could be part of this committee, but generally you're going to be addressing the staff that is reading it. So, I hope that answers your question. That wasn't too convoluted.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. And Marlon?
Thank you so much first for your presentation. I'm Marlon Nuño. My plan is to apply for a PhD in management, and RISE is one of my options. My question to you is, I have a background in public sector related to politics for entrepreneurs here in Mexico, and I was working like 5 years in industry. And
Mhm.
now I moved my path career to research. My question is, for applying to a PhD, do you advise me to postulate 3 recommendation letters from these different sectors, or you advise me just focusing on academic letters of recommendation?
So for your instance, I would think about who knows you the best out of all of those sectors. And I would say like with your most recent experience, there's probably a very good chance that the relationships that you have that are recent are going to be ones where it's more top of mind of, okay, this is who Marlon is and what he can do. I would try and get at least one letter from an academic, one letter from a faculty member. But for the rest of it, think about, okay, who knows you best? Who can speak to your potential, not only in academia, but who can speak to your potential and what you did in industry as well in the economic sector. So I would say a range of letters is great, but try for at least one from an academic.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. Miguel,
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
First of all, thank you for the presentation, and it is well well rounded everything that involves in the recommendation letters. My question is mostly, I think, for Alan,
Mhm.
since I am also trying to apply to a PhD in a physics related branch, which is astrophysics. And the thing is that how did you or what was the most difficult part of the application to try to enter to such a I think it's a thought or such a complicated PhD to enter that is applied physics or I think any related physics area. I think it's really sought after even in rice or especially in rice. So I think my question in general is what is the thing that you think that sold you to that university to be accepted, or what is the most difficult part of that application?
Thank you for your question, Miguel. Well, this is a very interesting question. The thing that I think I was admitted to RISE is because I have like a very interdisciplinary background in applied physics. During my undergrad, I did four different projects in areas such as astronomy and also machine learning because I couldn't decide what to do with physics, right? So I added this to my application and I tailored it to prove that my background was actually interdisciplinary. And this is completely aligned with one of the missions of the Applied Physics program, which is interdisciplinarity. This program of Applied Physics at Rice is very interesting because it's not a department, it's rather an institute that hosts Applied Physics. Why? Because the students that join Applied Physics at Rice, they can in principle be advised by any advisor of any field. For example, I'm in electrical and computer engineering department. Some friends are in bioscience, biophysics. Uh, of all the fields you can join once you join the applied physics department at Rice. And the other thing that I think that I was admitted to is also because of my GPA in the undergrad. I think I had a good GPA, and also I like to take like extra classes. So I added these extra classes that I took in my last year of undergrad to my CV. And what I think is the hardest part of the application, I will say is the physics GRE. But luckily, as far as I know, the applied physics the department do not require the physics GRE. I don't know, Jennifer, if that's still the case. But when I applied, they didn't require it, which was very good because that's a very hard exam. Yeah, and the second hardest part, I would say mm, maybe the GRE, honestly, the GRE.
Mm,
Why? Because once you have your essay, your statement of purpose, you just have to tell a story. It's a storytelling. So once you find your storytelling and the thing that you are interested that aligns with the mission of the department and the university, it's just a matter of tailoring and writing it and proofreading it. But I think that the hardest part was the GRE. Yeah.
thank you so much for the answers.
Yeah.
Anyone else? Now you understand why we talk about Magoosh a lot, right? Yes. Our grantees are doing Magoosh for the DRE, and that's a fly Yes. All right. There's a question in the chat. Um, okay, there's a very long one. Um, um, okay. What can be done in this case if there is no letter of recommendation, Gabriel? That's your question.
Yeah, so looking at this,
Mm-hmm.
when they kind of outsource the work, right? They don't want to do it themselves. I think it's always useful to try and set up a meeting with them, and maybe kind of talk through in that meeting with them. Hey, we could work on this, maybe talk about it together, and then I can give you a deadline and kind of go from there. I know that that's common. You're not always going to get somebody who's willing to work with you, but I think it's always good to try. And then I think that that's good practice, right? When you're applying to grad school in the US, especially for PhD, you're going to have to reach out to faculty members at the institutions you're applying to. So I think it's still good practice. Try, set up the meeting, see if you can do that, see if you can get them to talk through some things with you, and then see where it goes from there. It's always easy for people to say no in an email, but when you're in front of them face to face, it's a little less easy. So that would be my recommendation, Gabrielle. I hope that helps.
Right. And there's another question.
Mhm.
Jesus David.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so Jesus, the question is about, do you think it's useful to add strong statements like he is the best lawyer that I ever met? So sometimes, and actually I think it's pretty common for institutions, they're not just going to ask for the letter from your recommender. They're also going to ask the recommender to rank you. Out of all of the students they've ever known, is this person in the top 5%, 10%, 20%? So that's going to be something that your recommender is likely going to have to look at and think about. And so I don't know that those statements in the letter are super useful because that's going to be something that they have to answer quantitatively, kind of in the process. I would more think about what is specific about you. Because we all know, the best lawyer I've ever met, that's very general. What is it about Jesus that makes him the best lawyer, right? That's what we really want to know. Alan, you want to chime in?
Yeah, exactly. I was about to say the same thing. That's a very broad statement that can apply to anyone because it's very subjective, right? But instead of adding that to the letter, you could say to your recommendator, like, hey, what are the main points that make me the best lawyer that you have ever met? Like, oh, I defended these cases were impossible to win, blah blah blah. So because of these points, I consider that this person is the best lawyer that I don't know was I know in my career. But you have to sustain those points because it's very subjective. Like it doesn't tell anything about you as an applicant to the university. Yeah.
All right. Anyone else? This is your moment, people.
Yeah, I do have a question.
Mario?
Yeah, hi Jennifer. It's really nice to have you here. I'm actually thinking in applying to the Rice University. I don't know if you remember, but I just emailed you some weeks ago. You started my application to the AU course, and I'm so excited to see you. I don't know why, but I don't know if it makes sense. Anyway, I was thinking if it makes a huge difference to have a recommendation letter from a well-known researcher against to have a recommendation letter from somebody that it maybe is not well known in the field, but maybe the second person knows me more.
Yeah, I get this question a lot. And certainly, if there's somebody really well known, that's a great thing, but only if they know you well. If they don't know you that well and they're going to write a general letter, if they're going to say Mario is the best lawyer I've ever known and doesn't give any, information beyond that, that's not going to be super useful. So if the second person can say he won all of these cases when he was a lawyer and he's a great litigator because he did X, Y, and Z, that's going to be much more impactful. So my recommendation to you would be always to look for people that know you better, that can speak to who you are and can provide more context of who you are. But that's a great question. Yes.
Thank you so much.
Anyone else? And just to mention, in some cases, I think Jennifer mentioned it, it's not like they send a PDF with their signature. Sometimes some universities, they just ask you for the name of the person and the email, and they enter to a platform and they answer questions about you. Okay, so that's why it's important to have someone that knows you.
There is one other thing I wanted to mention, which is it's kind of an odd thing, but on the application, you're going to be asked to check a box that basically says, "I waive my rights to see this letter." And we generally look for that to be checked. I can't tell you why too much, but we really want to make sure that the letter that is submitted isn't necessarily written entirely by you. That the professor is the one that actually submitted the letter. And so that's kind of what we're looking for. So if you see that box on the application, that's what it means. But you will be asked to check something like that. So I hope that explains a little bit about that.
All right. Anyone else?
Such good questions. These are great.
Yes. Anyone else, Grantees? No? Sorry for my background noise. All right. So if there are no more questions to ask Jennifer or Alan, okay, we're going to close the session today. Remember, this resource is going to be posted, okay? So you can come back when you start with your recommendation letters. Okay, Alan?
Sorry for interrupt again. I just want to say congratulations for all the grantees. I think that the hardest part, you already passed through it. Now is sticking to the chronogram that is provided by Opportunity Funds and study hard for the GRE. But yeah, congratulations, because that's really the hardest part to apply. And then when you get it, it's going to be the beginning of a very interesting journey and very full of so many things. Like I still remember those times when I was applying to the Opportunity Funds Scholarship and time went super fast. Now I'm starting my third year in the PhD. I've been here in the US for almost 2 years. So it's so fast. Yeah, just enjoy the process and follow the chronogram and do all the activities assigned by your mentor. And just let me know if you have any question. I will write here my email. So yeah, congratulations.
And attend all the webinars, right, Alan?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So thank you again, Jennifer and Alan, for your time. It was great to have you here and for you to share all your knowledge and all the things that they need to consider once they are asking for their recommendation letters. All right. So again, thank you, grantees, for your time as well. And we will see you next time. All right. Thank you.
Goodbye. Thank you, Ana Lucia.
Thank you.
You,
Thank
Alan.
you.
See
Thank you
you
so
all.
much.
Thank you.
Bye bye.